Order. It is March 27th, and it is 7:16 p.m. Thank you all for being here. This is our full board meeting for CB12, and we will begin with our public gallery session. Just so that our speakers know, you get a total of 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes to speak, 30 minutes for feedback. And with that said, we will start with the first. I'm sorry, 30 seconds. 3 minutes. Sorry, you got 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes to speak, 30 seconds for feedback. Okay, and we will start with Sharon Davis, Con Ed Citizens, Concerned Citizens. Thank you.
Is it on? Okay. Yes, I'm here to represent the Baychester Eden Malls section. The concern is the bus stops that have been taken away from the 30 bus and the 31 bus. We have come up with a letter that concerns those issues, and the letter reads as follows. To whom it may concern, Vanessa Gibson, Carl Hasty, Jamal Bailey, Kevin Riley. We, the concerned citizens and families of the Baychester area, are writing to urgently request the reinstatement of several critical bus stops that were recently eliminated. These stops are vital for our community, especially for seniors, persons with disabilities, and families with young children. The discontinued stops are 229th Street and Laconia Avenue, that's the 31 bus, 233rd Street and Laconia Avenue, that's the 31 bus, Grace Avenue and Eli Avenue on Boston Road, that is the 30 bus, Tiemann Avenue and Boston Road, that is the 30 bus. The removal of these stops has created significant hardship for residents who rely on public transportation for essential trips to the doctors, pharmacies, supermarkets, and other services. Our area is a two-fare zone, and many residents, especially those with physical limitations, are now forced to walk long distances to pay additional fares. This places an unnecessary emotional and financial burden on our community. We ask that you take immediate action to restore these bus stops to help alleviate the difficulties facing Baychester residents. Thank you for your attention to this important issue. We look forward to your swift response. Sincerely, concerned citizens and families of the Baychester and Eden Mall area. Thank you.
I will send a copy of that letter to the chairman of the MTA. Just take the people boards into the concern.
Yes.
The last name is Lieber. But he's very active.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else? To Broadway? Mr. Lieber?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Try to write, I only got like 3 of them. I know you said more, so I'm gonna. Yeah.
We can write a letter.
229th Street and Laconia Avenue, the 31 bus. 233rd and Laconia, the 31 bus. Grace Avenue and Eli Avenue on Boston Road, that's the 30 bus. Tiemann Avenue and Boston Road, that's the 30 bus.
If you could give us a copy of that, that would be great. If you could leave a copy for us.
Yes.
Okay.
I will. Yes. Okay. It's been a while, yes. Okay, thank you.
Would you have information about which direction you're referring to? Like, because at 229th Street, there could be a bus stop in either direction.
Well, this is coming from White Plains Road. It's
Okay.
coming and then it turns right on Laconia Avenue. And there was a bus stop there, right in front of the private houses. That's the stop that was eliminated. And then it goes all the way past the precinct and makes a left on 229th. And that was a stop there on the corner. And they eliminated that stop.
I'm just, if you include in the letter the direction of each of those stops, that would help. Yeah, so like Carl said, including Westchester Square bound stop at this location. Yeah,
So you're saying to do the letter over?
Listed 31, or listed 30 and the 31. Give the direction of the bus. Oh, I'm sorry. Son, okay, what I want to say, do the 30, list the bus stops on the 30 with the direction that bus is going. Like the 30 is probably Pelham Parkway bound. The other one would be, the ones you brought up for the 31 is Westchester Square bound,
Yes.
all right? So this, just let them know what direction it is, because they probably couldn't figure it out for themselves, all right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I would also like to invite you to come to committee. If you're looking for a letter of support from the board, then it has to go through committee. And we can get you the exact date of when the next one will be next month.
Yeah.
Because then it has to go to committee, then they make a recommendation for a letter of support.
Okay, thank you.
We will, yeah.
Okay.
But thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Loretta Appleton, another concerned citizen. Loretta, or it's just you were echoing? Okay, thank you. So make sure you come with her as well that day. Next, Alexandra Perez. And actually, you can join virtually for the committee since you came in person. So we can get you that information as well when we meet for the committee. Concerned citizens. You heard? Okay. Alexandra Perez. Oh, okay. Great. TJ Nieves. Okay, great. We're moving along. Edgar Acero. Wrong one. Okay. Mario Pointinger. Wrong one.
Good evening, everyone. I am I guess, concerned citizen and a homeowner. I am a concerned citizen and a homeowner on the 2800 block of Kingsland Avenue. My concern primarily is there are abandoned cars with inaccurate license plates being left on our block unattended. Right now, there are 10 cars on the block. The license plates don't match the registrations. The cars are in various states of disrepair. And we've talked to sanitation because that's who we see. They say as long as there's a plate on the car, they can't move it. The police don't come to our block. And they're just there. One car in particular has been there for over a year. My other concern, and it's not just the 2800 block, whoever's hoarding or storing these cars has moved them onto the 2900 block of Kingsland Avenue also. So currently, I'd say there are probably 13 or 14 cars on those two blocks that are in this condition. I don't know if this is something that we can address here, but we also have a neighbor who is storing old appliances in his yard, and it looks like a warehouse. I will not say which address, but if there's someone from sanitation or DEP who, whichever laws it's violating, if they could just take a walk down our block, they can see this. The last thing I want to complain about for our block, and I have a number of residents on the block in the back row there, is the placement recently by the Department of Transportation of these new street dividers, the plastic yellow and white ones. They have literally taken about, in addition to the dirty cars taking away parking spaces from us, these new dividers and the paintings on the surface of the roadway have eliminated approximately 4 more parking spaces, and they're prohibiting homeowners from entering their driveways. It's literally impossible to turn into your driveway. We have pictures that can show, I have pictures on my cell phone to back them up if there's a medium here to show them to whoever is concerned. But these are the things that we're most concerned about. One of my neighbors, well, they're not the only ones. It's also concerning to me. We have some kids from around the block who come by and they use a stoop belonging to the church, which is also on our block, as their local hangout spot where they smoke, play music, and do whatever till all hours of the night. And we'd appreciate if someone from NYPD would pass by sometimes to just, say something to them to get them moving. Thank you for listening. And
Question, have you made these complaints to like 311?
yes, 311 is no help.
Okay, because we can look into like how many complaints
Right.
have been placed.
Right.
And then aside from that, I would suggest the same thing to come to our committee, because then we can write letter of support on behalf of the concerned citizens and other residents.
So the committee meeting is when?
When are you meeting? When is your meeting? When is your meeting, your next one?
Second Tuesday,
Yeah, but what
I
date?
mean Thursday.
No, that would be your committee one. So,
Second
Yeah.
Monday.
mhm.
Second Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is it?
April 14th, second Monday of the month.
Yeah, so that would be April 14th.
April 14th would be the.
Here in this room?
Yes.
One of my neighbors may attend in my stead because I'm a CPA and it's day before season, but somebody will be there.
Right. And if you can get us that, if you can write up what you just said, because maybe we can invite some of city agencies to join our committee meeting. We can't guarantee that they'll be there, but we can at least invite them.
Right.
So if you can write up your complaints and send it to Ursula so she can share it with us, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to add that you could also go to the 47th Precinct Council meeting. They meet Wednesdays. They're marching around. They're at a second Wednesday. They're all over there at every church. And a large part of your issues seem to be public safety orientated. But you can command that. That is exactly why that place is, the police association is in contention. It's up to you to bring that to their attention and force them to come.
Hold up. Also, sir, also, my name is Carlton Berkeley, all right? And I'm a retired New York City detective. At the end of this meeting, right, I'd like to meet with you. We'll go over to the precinct. I'll speak with the commanding officer, and we'll get some police to come on your block and handle that problem, all right? So you see me.
Yes. Go ahead, Ariel.
I would like just to say to respond to that. I know that a lot of people keep on saying 311 in the 47th precinct. I also have the same issue as our fellow person in the neighborhood, and I did go to the 47th precinct. I went to their meeting. I did talk to the commanding officer, and I'm still waiting. So I definitely want to see those residents at the meeting and see if we can bring in the people from the departments, because what's happening is that we're filtering through 311 and the 47th precinct, and it's just not getting to the source. Because I have a lot of abandoned cars that have been there for a number of months, and I also spoke to the commanding officer, so I definitely share in that same sentiment.
But, it is unfortunate because we know that's a fact, but we still need those reports there, because then in addition to, we at least have those reports that we can use, that you have placed the reports.
But I think it's also beneficial, like if we have people that are a part of these departments coming into our committee meetings, because the thing about it is that residents will kind of know like another type of protocol and will have a face to it. Because when you do go to 311 and you do go to the precinct, they are helping. It's not that they're not, but it's just not
getting
being
resolved.
resolved.
Right.
Exactly.
But we need all of that in order for us, because we're
Exactly.
saying we're trying to get the city agencies here, right? The most we can do is invite them and urge them to be here. But if we have that, it helps as well.
I know I'm agreeing to that, but
Yeah.
I'm
So
with
just-
the resident. So
right.
I'm saying that I agree with him, and because I'm part of committee one, I'm definitely going to assist him with that.
Wonderful, thank you. But we do recommend that you continue to put those complaints in. Anyone else before we move on? Our next speaker, Rojas, Stephanie, and Shantae Albright. And is this you're with again?
Huh?
Oh, no, you're probably, go ahead, thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So my name is Stephanie Rojas. I am the branch manager for the Eastchester Branch Library. We are located in 1385 East Gone Hill Road, which is not too far from here. We are just here to share a few of our services that we have for the community. As you may know, everything at the library is free. All of our resources are free. All of the programs that we offer are also free. Whether you want to check out a book, whether you want to check out a DVD, use our computers, use any of our services, we are one of the very few spaces that have free access to everything. So please take advantage of it. The most that you would need to use a computer is a library card, and anybody can get a library card. So a few of our programs that we have for the month of April, we have computer classes for adults every Mondays at 11 o'clock. We have an instructor there who can teach you basic computer skills. And we also have a job program that will assist you with whether that's interview help or interview tips, resume help, career services. That is going to be on April 24th at 4:30. And for our little babies from ages 0 to 5, we have story time every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And we also have a new program called Bilingual Birdies, where we will teach children Spanish through music. That's also for ages 0 to 5. Again, not all of our services are free. I also left a calendar with a lot of more events that we have. I just don't have enough time to share all of them, but there's also a calendar at the table where you can also see a lot of more services that we offer. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Shantae Albright. I'm the library manager at the Wakefield Library, address 4100 Laura Place, right down the hill from here. Come visit me sometime. And we also provide free services and free resources at the library. It's two announcements I wanted to make for the month of April. So April 10th, we offer English classes at Wakefield. So we're having an information session April 10th at 10:30. So if you know anybody that's interested of learning English as a second language, we do have that free service available. The only thing is they do have to register beforehand. So I'm going to email Ursula some flyers so you can share with anybody that might be interested in the community. And the second announcement I want to make, we do offer after school for children from ages 6 to 12 years old, and it's free. So if you know anybody that needs help with their homework or prep for testing or anything like that, we do offer that service, 6 to 12 years old, Monday through Thursday from 3 o'clock to 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just so that you know, we do have committee 3 that has all, you know about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Joseph Udbina.
I'd like for the time to start when everyone's up here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Urbina. I am the director of our Family Enrichment Center. I've spoken with many of you many different times, and today I'm accompanied by our newly hired team of community members for our District 12 Family Enrichment Center. While I can tell you all about how amazing our Family Enrichment Center is and how it's rooted in community, it's a prevention-based model, and that we're coming to District 12 Williamsbridge and Baychester neighborhood, as I normally do, right? I really just wanted to come today and introduce everyone to our fresh team. And before I do that, I also wanted to give a shout out to our intern who's been my backbone throughout these last several months, Mr. Ronald Vargas.
Hello.
Ronald has volunteered over 150 hours with the Family Enrichment Center throughout the last several months, and I really just wanted to give him some recognition. Tomorrow is his last day with our internship, but I'm expecting him to be with us throughout the summer. Our Family Enrichment Center has the pleasure of introducing our new community liaison, Mr. Guy Lovin, as well as our 2 family advocates, Ms. Chanel Edmonds and Mr. Tyrone Spivey Jr. I really just wanted to come and shout out the team because they will be doing outreach throughout our community, making themselves known, but also connecting with each and every one of you stakeholders that are here virtually as well as in person. Because right now, our Family Enrichment Center, we are actively going out to the community, bringing our services and offerings to the different places that everybody congregates. If you don't know already, our Family Enrichment Center is open to all ages, whether they're babies, adolescents, teenagers, adults, or even older adults. It is a totally free resource. It's a recreational home-style space. It is totally rooted in prevention-based modeling. We are government funded, and we're looking to be of service to our community. We have a temporary location that we're currently operating out of, and we're making as much progress as we possibly can. But as I mentioned, I really just want you guys to put names and faces together because we will be in touch with each and every one of you, whether you're in a library, a school, an elected official, or any one of us just residents of the community. We want to keep community centered in this initiative. We have the funding for this initiative. There's no reason why other boroughs can have a family enrichment center and we cannot. The Bronx has several others. There are 30 family enrichment centers all throughout the boroughs. And right now, Uptown has the privilege, the opportunity to have one of our very own. That being said, we're also in a company of our advisory council representatives, some of them who sit on your board, others who are just here in attendance right now. I would love to shout you all out, but can we just get a round of applause to the advisory council members? Who can raise your hand and get your recognition? Thank you, thank you. This early implementation team has been a very crucial aspect of this process. They've joined in on all of our interviewing processes. We're actually about to secure a web developer for our website as we design and develop that moving forward. They've been part of all the site visits as we look to secure our location for our Family Enrichment Center. In fact, Ms. Chanel Edmonds was a former early implementation team member, and now she's been hired to be a full-time member of our team. I really can't make this up, guys. Yes, I'm the director. Yes, it's a title. It's lovely. I'm just putting community first. And every step of the way, any opportunity I can, I'm trying to make sure that we establish a foundation rooted in community. It's a beautiful model. I recommend you guys speak to me or anyone here so you can learn about the magic that's going to unfold. All right. But please, you're seeing it unfold in real time. You can watch back on YouTube. You're going to see the progress. We're here. We're not going anywhere. The names, the faces can't change, but the progress is going to continue and the impact will stay for generations to come. I look forward to speaking with you all again. Thank you. Yes.
On the mic. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Goff, educator, retired Board of Ed. Now, being that you are offering all these wonderful programs, and we have 45 schools in District 11, because this is District 11, Community Board 12, why haven't you presented to the CEC where you could go into a school and be a part of a school, whether it's elementary, junior high, or high, with this kind of background and this kind of knowledge? And like I've read through the pamphlet as quickly as possible. But it seems to me that with this program could be inside of a school rather than to you be looking facility to operate in an area where you might be paying rent, even though you get government funded. But the schools have extended hours. The school have session where you could actually do things on lunchtime or after school or whatever the case may be. I'm pretty sure if you present this to the CEC, which is a community council, or at District 11 on Arnold Avenue, they're listening to you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for that suggestion. The family enrichment model is intended for us to have a space of our own. That way, anyone can access the resources, irregardless of availability of space, hours, or facility limitations. However, to answer your question, I wouldn't say that why haven't we? I would say why have we not yet? Because as we go by the suggestions made by community, we move forward in that direction. So believe me, we're going to set up a relationship so that way we can explore that opportunity. And in addition to that, we're bringing our services everywhere until we secure our space. So whether it's in a school, private, charter, public, whatever it may be, for all ages, libraries, anything, community centers, we're going to set ourselves there. Just as Ms. Johnny Goff just did. You ask a question or you make a suggestion, you are setting the tone and the direction that we move forward in. So thank you for that contribution.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Maurice with Most Healthy Bronx.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize. I'm a bit under the weather with the flu. My name is Maurice, and I'm with Most Healthy Bronx. We are a small nonprofit. We focus on health promotion and health advocacy. And we are offering this spring, everybody likes to get fit for the summer, free nutrition coaching. So I've got a couple of flyers here if anybody's interested. I can leave some out in the lobby. I've been dispersing some throughout this space right now. Earlier, if anybody would like a flyer or two, feel free to grab some, share them with your friends and your family, your church family, anybody that you think in the Bronx who can benefit. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, did you say you have the flu?
Yeah.
Maybe you could wear a mask. We do have masks in the back. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I was just gonna be in and out.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave right now.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Go Yanks. Yep,
Okay.
you already know.
Thank you so much. Don't get offended. We just do have to clean the mic real quick. Thank you so much. Do we have any presenters online? Any speakers, rather, online?
Hi, it's Effie from DEP.
Hi,
I'm one
Effie,
of
we're
the
not ready for you.
presenters.
Yes, thank you so much. We're just finishing with the speakers from the public gallery session.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Just hold tight.
You have Joseph Beinart with his hand raised.
Joseph, are you with us online? Joseph?
Beatrice, that's Joseph Biernat from the school.
Yes, we're waiting for him to speak. Joseph? Joseph, okay, let us know, text in the chat when you're ready. Talene, anyone else from your group? Talene?
Oh, that was it. I don't think he brought anyone else with him.
Okay, All right, so then that closes our public gallery session. Thank you all. Now we will continue. Simone, I think I saw you here. Okay. You guys are not ready yet, right? I know he's on his way from Councilmember Riley's office. Okay, so we will continue then. Effie, the floor is yours. If you can put up Effie's presentation.
Thank you. Will you be able to go to the next slide? Because my computer is always giving me a problem here.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you'll be able to pull it up for me and do next slide, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just let them know what you're presenting on.
Yeah. So DEP is going around, at least I am in the Bronx, and I'm doing these flood preparedness presentations, and some of you may have already seen this. But definitely I wanted to come to Bronx CB12. There's a lot of property owners there, and we do get complaints of flooding from this district. So I'm not sure you'll be showing it, right? Because I don't see it coming up.
Next.
Okay, that's how it's gonna be. Okay. Sorry, I could barely see it. So last August, we did something new at DEP, which we have not done in a while, and that is do a flood kit giveaway. And this was the first one that we did in the Bronx, and hopefully this summer we'll have additional ones coming up. This is an example, and I'll be speaking about it. This is a lengthy presentation, so I'll just be going through it a little quicker. But these are examples of the things that we gave out in our flood kits. Those are flood barriers, sump pumps, and other, material. Next slide, please. So many of you may know DEP. We make sure everybody has clean, safe drinking water, and also we treat wastewater. We have 14 wastewater treatment plants in the city. In the Bronx, we have our Hunts Point wastewater treatment facility. Our staff maintains 7,000 miles of water main, over 7,000 miles of sewers, 109,000 fire hydrants, and 150,000 catch basins. Next slide, please. The oceans are warmer. More water is evaporating into the clouds. The clouds travel over land and cause flooding. NOAA has reclassified New York City as a humid subtropical climate. We used to be designated as a coastal temperate climate zone. So what this means is we're getting a lot more intense, powerful rainstorms. And as you can see, in August 2021, Henry almost, delivered almost 2 inches in an hour of rainfall. September 2021 with Hurricane Ida, over 3 inches in an hour, and so forth.
Effie, one second. This is great data. I just want to let our new media friends know that our online folks cannot see the slides. You can?
We see it as a small box.
You can see it. We
Oh,
can see
yeah.
it online.
Colleen,
Yeah.
folks,
Now
you
we
can
can see it. Now we can
All
see
right.
it.
We have to
Just
slide to
like
the
ours.
next
Got to
one.
move it to the stage.
continue, Effie. Apologies.
Sorry, yeah. So the effects of these storms are worse, obviously, if you live in a coastal area where sea levels rise and there's tide cycles involved. New York City's average annual rainfall is expected to increase by 10% in the 2030s and as much as 30% by 2100. Next slide, please. One of the really intense storms that we had was this past August, where we issued a flash flood warning and a travel advisory. The Bronx was really hit with that August 6th storm that we had. The most intense area when you look at the Bronx was just a little to your left in Riverdale, that they got over 5 inches of rainfall, which is a lot and very intense. So the Bronx was really hard hit with that storm. And that obviously far exceeds the amounts over the rest of the city, especially with that particular storm. After that is when we did our flood kit distribution. Next slide, please. And here are just some pictures of examples. We have cars floating in the major Deegan and other parts of the city. Next slide, please. There's different types of flooding. There's stormwater, groundwater, and coastal flooding. And I'll go through those. Next slide, please. So sewers, obviously DEP is in charge making sure the city sewers are functioning properly, draining properly. Sewers are the first line of defense when it rains. They work in our storms, but they were built to handle about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches of rain per hour. And as we saw in those previous slides, we're getting a lot more than that. The system does get overwhelmed or overtaxed when the amount of water produced by the storm is greater than the capacity of the pipes. And due to climate change, New York City is experiencing more frequent heavy downpours than our sewers were designed to handle. So think of it this way, speed versus amount. You're getting 3 inches of rainwater over an hour versus 3 inches of water over the weekend, right? The intense storms that cause a lot of flooding concerns are the ones that dump the most quickly. Next slide, please. When the sewer system is overwhelmed, it can result in sewer backups. Also, there's an overflow from manholes. Sometimes you may see overflowing manholes on the street, or catch basins and basement sewer connections. 60% of New York City has combined sewers that carry wastewater from your home and stormwater from rain. During rainstorms, the sewer system can get overwhelmed, just like we discussed. And this can result in backups. And you can see those mostly, especially when you have basement apartments that are below the apartment is below the street level. Next slide, please. Street flooding. I'm sure everybody has seen a catch basin. These are pictures of a clean catch basin and one that has debris over it. They're located on the street and highways by the curbs, and they collect rainwater. That's their purpose. And leaves and debris can accumulate on top of the basin grates and block the drainage. So before heavy rains, we always also post on our social media, we always encourage property owners that have a basin in front, kindly sweep the debris off the top so the water can drain before heavy rains. If you're noticing that the water is not draining, even though nothing is over it and the rain has stopped, something's wrong with it. So please report it to 311. But blocked catch basins does not necessarily mean they're broken catch basins. That's why we kindly ask, especially if you don't have sanitation services doing street sweeping that would clear that debris off the top, if you can do it before heavy rains, just so the water can flow in. Next slide, please. This is a side view of a catch basin. And just like we discussed, it shows you the floatables in it. It's meant to capture debris. They usually have a curb piece to them and the grating and their connection to the sewer. Next slide, please. So we are responsible for cleaning catch basins. We have approximately 150,000 citywide. And as you see in the photo, our staff open the basin to determine whether the underground infrastructure is working properly. And then they clean or make repairs to the interior of the basin as necessary. We are proactive before major storms. We do go out and inspect them, especially in flood-prone areas, to make sure that they're clean and working properly. But obviously, some need more cleaning than others. The ones that tend to be by commercial areas or high pedestrian areas, we tend to service them approximately every 6 months. Others, maybe once to 3 times, one every year annually or every 3 years, depending on the need. And that's why I say if you're noticing something that they're not draining even after heavy rain, please report it to 311 and we will come out and do an inspection. Next slide, please. Groundwater flooding. So when the ground becomes saturated, water will find penetration points such as a crack in the foundation wall, as you'll notice in these homes that are shown here, or leaking floor drains. This typically occurs after a rainstorm because prolonged rain leads to oversaturation. And just like we say here, some areas of the city have naturally high groundwater. Groundwater is naturally occurring. So be aware of your property, and you may need to speak with a contractor or a plumber who can better advise you on what you need to do to make sure you're not getting any leaks or flooding through those cracks in the foundation, especially when it comes to groundwater conditions. Next slide, please. Hurricane season. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Hurricane season is June through November. Here in New York City, it tends to start around August. In 2024, we had a number of powerful storms that came through. Especially they're more frequent with climate change. Just like we mentioned before, the higher ocean temperatures cause more intense storms, more powerful storms. Next slide, please. Coastal flooding. If you are in a coastal community, in waterfront areas, the high tide and combined with the storm surge can make flooding conditions worse. Coastal flooding can send tidal water back up into the sewer system, resulting in overflows from manholes, catch basins, and basement connections. Tide gates are usually installed, and they keep ocean water out of the system during high tides or storm surge. Next slide, please. So the city has a multi-pronged approach to combating flooding. Okay, we have gray infrastructure, we have green infrastructure, blue infrastructure, regulations, and real-time monitoring. And I'll go through these. Next slide, please. This is a repetitive slide that we saw before, but I just wanted to mention our improvements, right? DEP's 10-year capital plan includes $8.2 billion for sewer system upgrades. Over 100 sewer projects are in the pipeline for the next 5 years, totaling a $3.6 billion investment. In Bronx Community Board 12, DEP is investing over $33 million in infrastructure improvements to sewers and water mains, with projects on Allerton Avenue between Bruner and Eli, where we're installing a new storm sewer and water main and upgrading existing storm sewer over there. On East 233rd between Baychester and Bronxwood, installing a combined sewer and trunk water main work there. Around Bussing Avenue and Edison Avenue, installing water mains. And also upcoming on East 238th Street and Oneida Avenue, installing combined sewer replacements there. So I just wanted to mention that specifically for your community board.
Effie, I'm
Next.
sorry, we have a question. Did you say 33 million for this district?
Yes,
Investment in infrastructure?
improvements to sewers and water mains.
And where can we learn more about that? Like specifically what areas?
Sure. Just an FYI, every year during budget consultation time, we provide every community board with a map of all its capital improvement projects. It also includes green infrastructure, sewer upgrades, water main upgrades, and other things that I'm going to be speaking on. But every time during budget consultation, we provide every community board with that map. And if you want, I'll resend the one that we did the last time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Next slide, please. Blue belts. As you see in this photo, most of our blue belts are in Staten Island. They divert rainfall away from the sewers, right? They provide retention and create rich ecological areas, and that's natural treatment of stormwater. And this program preserves natural drainage corridors like streams, ponds, and wetlands, and enhances them to convey, store, and filter stormwater. DEP manages 545 acres of blue belts and natural areas in the Bronx, Staten Island, and Queens. We actually have one in the Bronx. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Theodore Kazimiroff Boulevard, right by the New York Botanical Gardens, used to flood a lot with regular rainfall. And what we did was we captured the stormwater. About 10 years ago, we instituted this project, this Blue Belt type project, where we captured the stormwater runoff from the road, and eventually it goes into the lake on the other side of the fence in the New York Botanical Gardens. So if you ever go to the Botanical Gardens, please go check it out. So next slide, please. Green infrastructure. New York City has the most aggressive green infrastructure program in the country. While we expand the sewer system, we're also deploying additional green infrastructure projects to intercept stormwater before it enters the sewer system, right? So like you see in the top left, the top photo, that's an example of a rain garden, right? And the way you know it's a DEP rain garden versus a park's tree pit is that you have two curb cuts, an inlet where the water goes into it, right? So when it rains, the water's going into it, entering it, fills up the rain garden, right? And then there's another curb cut on the other end where it's draining out into a nearby catch basin. So it's capturing the storm water, right? These projects reduce street flooding by catching that stormwater before it enters the sewer system. So that frees up the drainage capacity and reduces sewer overflows into the local waterways. And we do work with parks, schools, public housing to build green infrastructure on their property as well. In Community Board 12, DP has built over 260 rain gardens and other green infrastructure projects. And I also shared a link with the Community Board about a month ago, where with all the community boards, where you can see, all the upcoming green infrastructure projects, the ones that were already constructed. And it's a pretty good map which shows everything. So definitely check that out. Yeah. Next slide, please. Something else we're considering is porous pavement. Porous pavement, just like it shows in that photo, you can open up water on it, it will like totally absorb it. It's special roadway paving that's designed to absorb and drain rainwater. we use this tool primarily in residential areas, and we've been slowly adding more and more mileage on it in the Bronx and other parts of the city. In Community Board 12, we constructed a 21,000 square foot pilot porous pavement project on Digney, Wickham, and Bruner between Bussing and Edenwald Avenues, and Wildner between Cranford and East 241st Street. And I know there's additional projects coming up. Next slide, please. Cloudburst. Cloudburst infrastructure is designed to work during heavy storms, and it diverts stormwater into contained areas like you see in that photo. And these are areas that are normally used for other purposes like the basketball courts, right? So underneath them would be subsurface storage. And also it uses porous concrete like the porous pavement we were just talking about. Cloudburst projects are new. In the Bronx, we currently are designing two, Morris Park and Parkchester. Okay, so we're looking into those. And just like I noted on the slide, cloudburst management projects can use contained spaces normally used for other purposes like sunken basketball courts to hold stormwater. They can also use sewer pipes, underground storage tanks, and green infrastructure. Next slide, please. FloodNet sensors. So these sensors detect and monitor street flooding in real time and relay life-saving information to city agencies. They're installed in neighborhoods that are vulnerable to high tide, so it's typically coastal communities, also that they experience storm surge and stormwater runoff. New York City our first flood monitoring network is set to expand. We're going to be installing additional ones throughout the whole city. Next slide, please. All right, Unified Stormwater Rule. So the Unified Stormwater Rule, right, came into effect in 2022. It was put into effect to address the increase of housing development in New York City. DEP implemented it. It implemented the Unified Stormwater Rule that increased the amount of stormwater that new and redeveloped properties, including those in rezonings, must manage on site. So this on-site storage significantly reduces demand on the city's drainage system by slowing water going into the sewer system. Okay. And the rule prioritizes the use of green infrastructure like green roofs, blue roofs, which have the added benefits of reducing heat island effect and supporting wildlife habitat. Please make sure to go on our website to review our New York City Stormwater Manual, and it gives a comprehensive overview of the New York City stormwater management requirements and the guidance for both public and private development. Next slide, please. So now let's go to you as a property owner, you as a homeowner. What can you do to protect your home for flooding, right? Next slide. Converted basements. So bathroom fixtures, shouldn't be located lower than the sewer connection, right? Because you end up having more frequent sewer backups, especially in basement apartments. Stormwater flooding. Basements located at the bottom of a driveway or below sidewalk level are prone to stormwater flooding and groundwater flooding. Also, be aware of windows, bars on windows, which can trap people in flooding basement apartments. Next slide, please. if you have a property, check to see where your gutters or your downspouts are located. Are they connected to your sanitary line? Because if they are, during heavy rain, guess where that rainwater is going? Right into your sanitary line, overwhelming it and possibly causing sewer backups. So we always recommend you disconnect your roof drains, right? Disconnecting them from the sewer keeps the rainwater out of the system and reduces the likelihood of backups for your property. And you would direct the downspouts away from your building because you don't want the water coming through cracks into your foundation. Okay, next slide. So when you disconnect them, what do, right? Here's a great option. You install a rain barrel. That's our rain barrel giveaway program. I think we've been doing it for over 10 years. We're not going to be doing it this summer. We're going to start shifting away to flood kits and other things now. But you can always go to Home Depot, or if you already have a rain barrel, this is the use for it. You connect your home's gutters to it, and you capture that storm water, and you can use it for, watering your garden, washing your car. It's not potable water, but you can have other uses for it and save money on your water bill. And we've given out so many. I think last summer, it says here, we gave out almost 5,500 citywide. Next slide, please. If you have belongings in the basement, elevating them. So if you do get leaks or backups or anything like that, they won't get wet. Also putting flood sensors on the floor that can alert you when they pick up a leak or water like that. Definitely an option that you should consider if you have that issue in your basement. Next slide, please. When we did our flood kits, we had these giveaways in them. Flood barriers. Okay, flood barriers, as you can see here, typically you fill them up with water or sand and you put them by your basement doors, or if you have a pitched driveway, right, and you tend to get the rainwater just gushing down, you would put that by the door, or a basement window that you tend to get water in from the outside. Okay, next slide, please. Sump pumps, those were also in our flood kit giveaways. By the way, these are all things that you can get at any Home Depot or Lowe's or any of these hardware stores, plumbing stores. Sump pumps are really good at removing flood water. A sump pump is a device that detects rising water in the basement typically and pushes it outdoors. So we also were giving out the hoses that come with those. So these are things that you can look at for your property. Next slide, please. Another important one is a check valve. Check valves are really good at stopping sewage from flowing back into your home through toilets and bathtubs during storms. Always use a licensed plumber when you're planning on installing them. Okay, especially in buildings or bigger properties, these are really good. Next slide, please. Using a drain or toilet plug. Okay, these were also given out as well. These are new things that you can definitely experiment with and see what can help, and it supposed to help with getting sewer backups coming through your toilet. That's what sewer backups are, when you're getting sewage coming back up through your toilet or your bathtub, typically basement fixtures. Next slide, please. Homeowner insurance. So most homeowners insurance policies do not include coverage for a sewer backup. You may want to add an optional rider to that policy to cover any damages that you incur. something to take into consideration. Next slide, please. Wait. Wait is a voluntary text messaging program, and it notifies participants when to use less water during a heavy rainstorm to help protect our waterways. You're just adding more water into the system when it's already overwhelmed. So what do you wait for? It says wait to flush the toilet, but maybe you may wait to do laundry or wait to run your dishwasher, okay, during heavy rainfall. So you would wait afterwards when the rain is over and then do that, okay? And the reason is that extra water discharge puts unnecessary strain on an already taxed sewer system. Next slide, please. Trash it, don't flush it. A lot of things we shouldn't be putting down the drains or toilets. One of them is grease. After you're done cooking, if there's leftover oil, you don't dump it down the drain or toilet. It causes sewer backups. You discard of it. I don't think sanitation has exact rules or regulations on how to dispose of it, but you can put it in with cat litter, people have told me, or in a can, discard of it with your regular garbage. Many sewer backups for your property and the city's sewer mains are caused by grease or debris in the sewers, okay? So it's definitely something to pay attention to. Next slide, please. You want to plan for intense storms. Make an emergency plan that best suits your needs and the needs of your household. Make an emergency supply kit and have a go bag ready. And what is a go bag? I know OEM was giving them out a while ago, and it's a collection of things that you would want if you had to leave your house in a hurry, right? Pay attention if you're in a coastal community to high tides, the tide alerts, the weather forecasts if we're anticipating more than an inch and a half of rain per hour. Next slide, please. Even important to know your evacuation zone. NYC.gov/hurricane provides this map, and it's for the possibility of the need for hurricane evacuation, where your zone is, where your travel route should be, things to take into consideration. Next slide, please. Also with OEM, obviously Notify NYC, very critical app. Definitely sign up for the alerts. I know DEP puts a lot of notifications on there as well. Next slide, please. For all the material that I discussed, how to use flood sensors, flood barriers, sump pumps, all these things, we actually have footage. We have a video that you can see our staff putting it together and talking you through it. So please go on our website, www.nyc.gov/DEP/flood kit, and you will get that information there. Next slide, please. And these things were in the kit that we had given out, and definitely things that you can take into consideration, with everything we discussed. Next slide, please. And the last slide.
Thank you, Effie. That was a great presentation. We'll definitely have you come back. If you want to drop off some flood kits or send them to our board, we would gladly accept it. Many of us do live in a zone where we're getting increasingly more and more flooding. And so we can definitely benefit from any of those mechanisms that you spoke about. So thank you. Do we have any questions? Go ahead, Javin.
Hi, I just have one question. You mentioned the street on East 241st Street in Cranford, on White Plains Road. That area I know was a subject to many 311 calls every time it rains hard because it floods so much it basically becomes a lake and it's like really difficult to reach public transportation or like travel across there anywhere. You mentioned changing the roads, like the material of the roads to a more porous substance. I wanted to know if is that DEP's opinion that it's going to be sufficient enough, or will the catch basins have to be assessed? Because it seems like there's always an issue on that street with huge flooding.
Do me a favor, just to look specifically on the intersection or location that you're talking about. Can you just reach out to me with that, or have the community board reach out to me on that specific spot, and I'll let you know what we have. I mean, remember, everything is part of a multi-pronged approach. So if there's existing catch basins, we're adding porous pavement, we're adding green infrastructure. Everything, is helping out. Additional sewer upgrades. But for that specific location, I would like to just look at it and see what I have on it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send you something. Thank you.
Go ahead, Karen. Just get on the mic.
Hi. I live over on Barnes Avenue off of Tilden between Barnes and 211th Street. And I know we've had this presentation before, but this is an area that even when it's not raining, because I live in a building where water is coming up from the ground, even when it's not raining. We've had the hard rainstorms during the summer, but even on a regular not rain day, we have water that's coming up from the ground. They came up, I mentioned this area before. We have 6 catch basins. They cleaned out 1 and forgot about all the rest of them. They cleaned out the catch basin that was over closer to Tilden and Barnes, but there's about 6 of them in that area because of the buildings that are over in that location.
We'll definitely come out if the community board can send these to me, as long as they're reported with 311, we will come out and service them. If you can give us the 311 complaint numbers for the specific locations that need attention, and we will come out and look into them. If a basin does not need to be cleaned, sometimes if they're coming out and they're checking, they're noticing that the basin does not need to be cleaned or it's operating properly, I can see them not doing anything to that basin. But I would like to look at the history of the complaints for that location and follow up that way.
Because that area, I know there was a stream underneath of it, but is there any kind of plan for that particular area? Because there was construction going on further up the block, and I know that's when you said that you were going to be changing the pipes. But what about the structures that are already there? Because they already dug up and put pipes down, and I thought the problem would improve, but it hasn't.
And you mentioned there's streams, underground streams.
That whole area apparently was constructed over some kind of waterway.
Okay.
So they didn't put pipes in the area to divert the water.
I'll have to look into it. I'll be in touch with the community board on it.
Karen will follow up. Anyone else? Effie, thank you so much. I'll reach out to you on the side about some separate questions I have for you. But thank you so much for this presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, next we're going to move on to Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Beatrice. Good evening, Community Board. I apologize for my tardiness. I was at another community conversation in another part of the district. But I'm Councilmember Kevin Riley, for those who don't know who I am here. Just want to thank the Community Board 12 and everyone here for your commitment on shaping our community to be a better place. I've asked my colleagues, Paris and Ryan from our land use team to be here, and they're going to be giving us a brief update on the negotiations for the City of Yes proposal. But before we go into that, I'm excited to share updates on the neighborhood plan for White Plains Road that I previously proposed to the community board and discuss what next steps are going to be taking place. So the White Plains Road neighborhood plan is going to focus on improving zoning, develop opportunities, and also business diversity along White Plains Road. The top priority is community input. That's the whole purpose of the neighborhood plan. It's for the community to get together, focus on how they want to improve the community, whether it goes to infrastructure improvements, whether it goes to attracting better businesses here, whether it goes to improving the amount of affordable housing here. As a council member, and I could speak for all the elected official staffs in here, one of the major issues if you come to my office is we need somewhere to live. We can't afford to live here. There's not affordable places to live. So we do have to produce more housing in this district. And this is what the neighborhood plan is for us to all come together and figure out how we could comprehensively produce more housing in this district. Second is expanding improvements across the district. So while we're focused on White Plains Road, the land use team and the DCP, which is Department of City Planning, has mentioned that they are also able and also going to focus on parts of Boston Road and Gun Hill Road as well, as a district-wide improvements will be done with this neighborhood plan. The community engagement, we plan to conduct surveys to collect feedback on community needs and priorities, which I need everybody in here to help me with these surveys so we can get as much community input as possible. And we're going to be forming an advisory group. This group is going to be formed to ensure continuous community involvement and support additional opportunities for residents in participation. Today, and you can look it up online, I did a hearing on AIM Up. AIM Up is the Atlantic Avenue neighborhood rezoning proposal. And they basically had no community members come and be opposed to it. That's how important the community neighborhood plan is, because you have a lot of community involvement. And you get to have the community negotiate with the administration on what they possibly want to see. So we're going to be working with the Department of City Planning and other stakeholders within the city agencies to explore different projected development opportunities. So the addressing potential concerns consists of zoning changes. Any proposed zoning changes coming from this study will be carefully evaluated to ensure that clearly effective community needs and inputs are prioritized. We will also provide resource and education to help residents understand how these changes will impact them. The development impacts are development goals will focus on enhancing the community without displacing. And I'm just going to run through it. I know you guys have been here for a very long time, so I'm trying to get through the meat and you guys can ask your questions after. The development goals will focus on enhancing the community without displacing residents and small businesses. Balance is also going to focus on balancing economic growth and preserving neighborhood identity, which is really, really critical for me. Traffic and infrastructure on White Plains Road is terrible. So we are aware of these concerns around increased traffic or strain on infrastructure. And within the neighborhood plan, you'll be able to advocate for a change in that infrastructure as well. So what are the next steps? The next steps is our office will keep the community updated with the following next steps, formally in the advisory group, which are going to be doing the group together. We will work closely with our office to ensure that a comprehensive process is taking place. So this group will be spearheading meetings, spearheading working groups within the community. We are not only looking for people who are the community on the community board, but we also want neighbors. So if you know anybody that is a neighbor that wants to be a part of this advocacy group, please have them contact my office. And those people could be business owners. We want young professionals, some young people there as well. We want some of our older adults, some of our retirees. We want consumers that come into the district, schools, educators, creatives, you can name it. We want a full stakeholders who could help us improve this community. It's also vital that we engage all stakeholders. We want to push that every voice in this district matters. So if you're interested in joining the advocacy group interest form, Andy Tercios, Andy, can you just stand up real quick? Andy comes to the meeting all the time. He will be sharing the QR code, which he has with him today. You guys can sign up for this group today. to be a part of the neighborhood planning group. And before we start the questions, I want to introduce Paris, who is the Director of Planning and Land Use. He came all the way here to do his presentation. And also Ryan, who's the Senior City Planner for Land Use. If you guys could just give them a round of applause because they came out here late tonight. And Paris, Ryan, you guys could take the mic up there and you could start the presentation. And then after they're done, I'm just going to finish up and then we're going to take some questions, okay?
All right. It's great to be here. I was just commenting to someone that you guys have a very nice community board office. Most community boards that I've been to are not this nice, so congratulations on that. So we'll pull up the presentation in a second. Yeah, goodbye. And just a bit more about us. So I'm the director of the Planning and Land Use Division, like the councilman said. Our division, and Ryan's one of our senior planners, our division staffs the Land Use Committee, the Zoning Subcommittee that the councilman is the chair of, and the Landmarks Subcommittee. So anything that's a rezoning, anything that's a disposition for affordable housing, otherwise like the city selling land to a developer to do affordable housing, or other some city-sponsored projects where they're changing the land use or the land uses of a city-owned property. That comes through our land use committee. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. So while we're pulling that up, yeah, just give us a second. Oh yeah, sure. Is that better? Yeah. It might not be on. It's not. Hello? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Yeah, it's Paris Strotter, Director of Planning and Land Use Division, City Council. And you should take down Ryan because he's your direct contact.
Okay, while we wait, I'll just finish the rest of my report. Okay, at the recent city council meeting, the city council voted to approve one of my bills. I've been passing a lot of bills lately, so you guys can catch up on it. But one of the bills, you can clap it up for that. That's really good. All right, so this bill was Intro 9018, which is to develop and provide resources to homeowners and their heirs regarding scam prevention, mortgage counseling, municipal payment assistance, repair financing, financing planning, and estate planning. That has now been enacted and is now a local law, and it's local law 26. I also, thank you. We've also voted to support my fellow co-chair, because I'm also the co-chair of the Black Latino Asian Caucus, which is the largest caucus in City Council. The co-chair is Crystal Hudson, and we voted to improve Intro 0888, and that improves transparency on market value with solicitors reaching out to property owners. A lot of property owners are getting approached by people soliciting and not telling them how much their property is worth. So they might be in arrears, they might have a little bit left on their mortgage, and they're pretty much giving them probably double what they have on their mortgage, but not letting them know that their property is worth probably triple, quadruple amount of that. That was also voted on and supported as well. Also this month, my colleagues and I brought in Resolution 802, which supports a state bill to require building home owners who found responsible for a fire that results in a vacant order to cover the cost of temporary apartments for displaced tenants. This comes from the Wallace Avenue fire that just took place. So fast facts, this would only apply if a building owner was found specifically negligent and not in case of an accident. It incentivizes repairs before anything happens that's catastrophic, and also establishes a stronger contingency plan for tenants to be displaced by a fire. A bill that was just passed yesterday is resolution calling on the New York State Legislature and the governor to sign S-126, which my bill was Resol 524A, and it's in relation to the legal representation in certain mortgage foreclosures for homeowners. And the facts on that is support state bill currently pending to ensure homeowners facing foreclosures have the right to legal counsel. Foreclosures disproportionately impacting Black and Brown communities, and thousands of homeowners currently face foreclosures without any legal representation, which increase the likelihood of them losing their home. And homeowners should have to navigate foreclosures alone. So this is another sense of resource. And another bill, like I said, we passed a lot of bills. Another bill, which we're going to be passing in April, and if you guys saw my nice little video, I just hired a videographer, Mike. Mike is in the room somewhere. Thank you, Mike. Which is Reso 187, the Metropolitan Baychester Square area. That's the place that MTA owns. They are going to turn that and convert that into an electric depot. That's a good idea because we want to lower the emission, but what is that impact going to have on the community? So we are calling for them to do an environmental impact statement on this proposed area so we can figure out how this is going to impact the community. I'm just going to finish up real quick. Okay. All right. Lastly, budget updates. Jamal Yap, my Deputy Chief of Staff and the Budget Director. Jamal, just come in here and raise your hand real quick. We finished up the preliminary hearings for the budget last week, but we are doing participatory budgeting. Anybody knows what participatory budgeting is? All right. You should know because this is our third year doing it. All right. So participatory budgeting, if you got this form right here, this is how you can spend $1 million in your district. Okay. We bought back $122 million in the district, but we want you to know how to spend $1 million in the district. This is our position to try to get the community more civically engaged. This voting process starts this Saturday morning, March 29th to April 6th. And the fun part about this is you could be 11 years old and participate in this. So you could be as young as 11 years old and participate on how to spend $1 million in your community. I think that's really impactful. And I'll talk about the events after, but is the PowerPoint ready now? Okay, I'll kick it back to you, Paris.
I like how many TVs you guys have as well. It's pretty cool. Okay, so if you go to the next slide, please. So City of Yes was a citywide zoning text amendment. So it's not a rezoning where you go from a zone to another zone. It was a text amendment that was citywide. Usually you see rezonings as like one piece of property or maybe a neighborhood. This was a citywide text amendment where a lot of different policies were proposed. In fact, the text amendment, as some of the board members know, was 1,300 pages roughly. It was a lot of zoning text. So this was the administration's proposal from the Department of City Planning. It came to us, when was that? Like November of last year or October. We voted in December. We heard a lot of concerns with the proposal. So this kind of summarizes like the themes that we heard most often. First was one size does not fit all. So the citywide text amendment, people really felt like this is not designed for my community. This is something citywide. So we heard that, and in the way that the city council modified the text amendment, we tried to make it more specific to certain communities across the city. So that's kind of the first bucket that explains how we tried to modify the text amendment. Secondly, we heard a lot of folks saying, my neighborhood's great, I like my neighborhood, don't change it. So again, the councilman mentioned earlier, across the city, we need more housing, we need more affordable housing. So change has to come, but can we make that change more fit within the context of existing communities? So that's the second thing they were trying to do. Third, we had heard a lot of concerns about affordability. Folks wanted to see more deeply affordable housing. Folks wanted to see more broad-based affordability. So we tried to respond to those concerns. And lastly, we wanted to make sure that there were concerns about existing homeowners and existing tenants. A lot of the text amendment, because it's zoning, is about new development. We wanted to make sure that the text didn't do anything inadvertently to harm either existing homeowners or existing tenants. Next slide. And you guys, it's a long presentation, so, but if something's not clear, then stop me, please. Actually, I'm gonna let Ryan talk about, because he knows this neighborhood better than I do.
Yes, just very quickly going over the current, so this is the current zoning, which basically just means do you have a lot of kind of high density apartments or do you have low density, say, single family housing? So here, there is no green. Green is the lowest of single density housing. Mostly, there's some in Staten Island, very, very little of that in the Bronx. But here it's more of a mid-rise community. So you have in the orange, which is the predominant zoning, especially in like the Wakefield and the Edenwald area. You have in the orange, you have basically low multi-density. So that could be attached to 3-family housing and then small apartment buildings. The only kind of high density zoning that we have is in the blue, and that's largely along White Plains Road, and then you have Co-op City. So those are kind of the two areas of high density. We're going to focus, because so much of the area is mostly low rise, which means, again, some single family attached and detached housing to low density apartment buildings. We're going to focus most of this presentation on the text amendments that focus on those types of areas. Next slide, please. And then this is just showing the Wakefield Woodlawn Heights area as well. Same type of thing. That blue, for one, is the cemetery, so you can basically disregard that. That has no bearing on this. Then the other blue is White Plains Road. Again, that is the higher density where there, larger apartments might be applicable, whereas in the yellow and orange are more kind of low density, meaning, multifamily housing, but more like 3-4 stories. You're not seeing a lot more than that. Is kind of the idea. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Ryan. So the first proposal we'll go over is ADUs, accessory dwelling units. Next slide. Thank you. So accessory dwelling units are basically smaller apartments that are supposed to be secondary or accessory, in this case, to the primary dwelling on the site. In this case, it's a 1 to 2 family home, but you could have a small, basically apartment that would be called an ADU. They're limited to 800 square feet. They could be a separate structure in the rear yard. And we'll talk about modifications in a second, but they're limited to 2 stories was the original proposal. They can only be, or they have to be offset from your neighbor's property by 5 feet. They can't occupy more than 50% of the yard, and they could be a basement, but basements are not allowed in the floodplain, and you're required to have side yard access. So if you have, and you'll see that we have a map of this, but if it's an attached house, like a townhouse or a row of brownstones or brick houses, then you can't do ADUs in your backyard. Next slide. So there's 4 different types of these ADUs. I talked about a separate structure from your house in the rear yard. So that's on the upper left. In the upper right, this idea that you could actually extend your house to create this unit. But that could also be that you already have like a recreation room, let's say, behind the kitchen, or a lot of people have already converted things like that to a secondary unit. That could also be an ADU. So that's that upper right. And then attics, so attics apartments count as ADUs, and then basement apartments count as ADUs. And again, there's, well, I don't know if I said this, it's only 1 ADU allowed per property. So you have a 1 to 2 family home, you can have now an additional unit on the property, but only one of these 4 categories. Next slide. So there were a lot of concerns with ADUs, particularly in single and two-family areas across the city, including this neighborhood. So in looking at the ways that we could address those concerns, a couple of things. So people were really concerned about flooding. It's funny, the presentation before talked a lot about basement flooding. So, basement ADUs are not permitted in flood zones. That's obvious. But one of the council modifications that we made was so that they're not allowed in inland flood areas. Because as you all know, it's not just coastal flooding that's a problem. When you have rain events, you've got certain areas that flood during the rain events that are nowhere near the coast. So DEP is mapping these inland flood zones, and actually there's a bill that was passed alongside City of Yes that requires DEP to make a map of these inland flood areas, and there's a whole slew of other restrictions that apply to development beyond zoning in that legislation. But as at least relates to City of Yes, you can't do these basement ADUs in these inland flood areas. Another modification was that if you have I don't think the coastal flooding zone affects this neighborhood, but if you're in a coastal flood zone, you also can't, but it also affects inland areas. So inland or coastal, you can't do that separate structure in the rear yard. The idea being that you want people to have rear yards where it drains, like they were talking about with the drainage and the DP presentation. They were talking about how if you have grass in your backyard or other places, it goes into the soil rather than into the sewer system. So we want to make sure that happens. And then also you're just not putting more people in harm's way, right? The other amendments that we made is that these ADUs, again, the detached ADUs are not allowed in historic districts, and they're not allowed in low density contextual districts. I don't think there's much of these in this neighborhood, but R1, 2A, R2A, and R3A, those are low density zones that have kind of lower FARs, floor area ratios. So it just doesn't lend itself to more development. I think that's it. Yeah, next slide. The other major thing we heard is that there was a concern with if we allow these ADUs, it drives up prices, developers are going to come in and speculate, push homeowners out. So we made a modification to the zoning text that you can only do an ADU if you're a homeowner that lives on the property. So it's really designed for that homeowner that's looking for a little bit of more income or might have a family member or friend that wants to rent from them. Like that's really what this is designed for. Next slide. Like I said, this originally you could do a 2-story structure in the backyard. That really freaked a lot of people out, as you can imagine. So you're only allowed to do a 1-story ADU in the rear yard, unless you're providing parking that was not provided before, and then we allow you to go to the 2nd story. But the idea is that you have a parking space and then the ADU above, because another concern was that ADUs do not require parking. Yes. Yeah, so that you wouldn't be able to do an ADU in that kind of building. Yeah, you have to have that side yard.
Saying I can't get close to my neighbor. Not that I would want to. Sorry. Not that I would want to, but the restrictions are being put on the homeowner that are not being put on contractors. People are building homes, like example, over, where I live at, one building leaves, a private house is evacuated. They tear it down and they build a building and it's literally brick to brick to the house next door to it.
Yeah, well, in this case, we're talking about ADUs and not required side yards. We have some things of that coming soon, but if you're going to have an ADU, this unit in the back, you want there to be, for fire access, et cetera, emergency egress, You want that unit to be able to exit without going through the property. So like you need that like 5-foot exterior to make it safe. Otherwise you shouldn't be doing a unit back there. So that's the idea. Next slide. So this is a map now, so this is not official. This is our estimation based on lot size and based on the fact that, so in this neighborhood, there's a lot of attached housing, like row houses. You can't build ADUs there. So everything in the yellow, you can't do an ADU. It's only the green. And some of the green, if you see, overlaps the blue. So there's two different blues on this map. There's a coastal area. So there is a little bit of coastal flood zone. And then there's the darker blue, that's the inland flood areas. So where you have those areas, if you're close to that, you also cannot do ADUs. But there are parts of the neighborhood that have some lots that might be applicable for ADUs, particularly in the Wakefield area. Next slide. So there's a little bit more applicability. Wakefield, and I actually don't know what this neighborhood is up to the right. That's Wakefield as well? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's some more applicability. There must be larger lots, less inland flood areas. And again, if you see on this map, not like areas that flood that are not reflected that you think should be considered inland flood zones, let us know, because we can give that feedback to the Department of City Planning and the Department of Environmental Protection to make sure that those maps are accurate. They should be doing surveying over the next several months before the map is supposed to be published. I think it's in June is when the map is supposed to be published. Next slide. Okay, another proposal that affects this neighborhood is town center and transit-oriented development. Next slide. So town center is this idea that where you have stores or commercial, you should be able to do residential mixed use. And in a lot of places that's allowed, but the way that the zoning was before had so many restrictions that people just end up not doing it anymore. We have basically a store and then a couple floors of residential above. It's just not worth doing if you're a property owner because of all the zoning restrictions. So this proposal lifts those zoning restrictions and then also adds a little bit more density. So technically you'll have as of right that's shown as in the blue, like that's the zoning, that was zoning pre-City of Yes. And then post-City of Yes, you see with the yellow, is the additional development now you're able to do under town center development.
Paris, can you just explain what as of right is for everybody here?
So, and now that City of Yes is approved, it's now as of right. So as of right means that you can go and build your building without getting any zoning approvals from City Council. You can just file with Department of Buildings, pull your permits, and go. And there's still an approval process so that basically there's inspectors at DOB that make sure what you're building complies with zoning, but you don't need to go to City Council, you don't need to go to City Planning Commission, you don't need to go to the Community Board. So that's as of right. Next slide. So this proposal wasn't as controversial as others, but we did hear some concerns. One of which was that some of these commercial zones, they're zoned commercial, but actually it's residential on them. And what we didn't want to do is take blocks of one and two family homes and change them into mixed use buildings. Like we wanted to preserve 1 and 2 family homes where they exist. And some of these 1 and 2 family homes do exist in commercial zones. So we took those out. Basically, if you have a block that's more than 50% 1 and 2 family homes, that block is not eligible for this provision. We also removed, sometimes you have this weird stuff where it's like one block of commercial. The whole point of this provision is to kind of make town centers again. Well, if it's one block of commercial in the middle of a residential area, it's not really a town center. It's more like, you have some corner stores and some other stores. It doesn't make sense to allow more density in that area because it's probably in the middle of a residential neighborhood. So we took that out as well. If there's only one block of commercial, it's not eligible for this proposal. Next slide. And so you see here, and actually Ryan could talk through where these are.
Yeah, I mean, just really quickly, there's not a whole lot of town center applicability in District 12. And there's a few reasons for that. One, White Plains Road is a high density zoning district, so it already has it has different rules. This proposal specifically is just for low and mid density districts. So again, White Plains Road already has a lot of these attributes, whereas here there's a little bit of Gun Hill Road, a little bit of Boston Road. Again, these areas already generally allow this type of development that is mixed use, and you see some of these mixed use development. I can point out a few in that area of Boston Road, but right next to it, there are one story commercial buildings largely that could be have two or three stories of residential above it, but don't, just because it, again, as Paris said, it just doesn't make sense because of all the regulations that were put on it many years ago. So again, not much applicability, but I would just call it, Gun Hill Road has some, Boston Road, and then a little bit of Laconia and Bronxwood. In those areas, again, you already see commercial businesses. It's just kind of making sure that those can continue to exist and be built as such. Next slide, please. Sorry. And then same thing here with Woodlawn and Wakefield. There's not much applicability, but again, it's kind of the same density that is already there for the most part. The Brown says it could go up to 5 stories. I think there are a few buildings and there that are 5 stories, but most of them were built before 1961 when the rules were different, and now, because there are so many regulations, it's been difficult to build that back. But that would be the max. You couldn't build more than that with this proposal either. Next slide, please. Yeah.
That's Katona Avenue on Brown, Brown there.
Yeah.
So if you have a single family house on Katona Avenue, it's now zoned to be 5 stories.
Well, so you're talking about a specific block?
I'm on Katona Avenue, right there, that Brown.
Yeah.
Is your block mostly single family homes, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. There's a few single family homes.
So it's based on the linear feet of that block. So if there's more than 50% linear feet of commercial, then the whole block is eligible, and that's just how the zoning works. But if it's more than 50% linear 1 and 2 family homes, then it's not eligible, the whole block. So we can follow up with that specific block. We can take a look if it's eligible or not. Next slide. Transit-oriented development. This proposal, the idea is within a half mile of transit, you could do a little more density. So next slide. So to give you an idea of the change, you could go in certain cases from a couple 2-family homes to a couple 3-family homes. Or in the lower image here, you go from 4 2-family homes on this site, this is actually in Brooklyn, to an apartment building. So in certain cases, it is more of a major change where you can only do attached or detached houses, and now you could do an apartment building. But that's the level of increase that this proposal allows. Next slide. So this gives you a sense before and after in terms of what you could do versus what you could do now. Next slide. So we heard a lot of concerns with this proposal, particularly in single family areas, because you've got single family homes, and now you're talking about you can do a multifamily structure or even like a small apartment building. And that raised a ton of concerns. So what we did at the city council is remove single family zones, R1 and R2 areas, from these transit-oriented development areas, so they're not eligible. Next slide. So where is eligible? And I'll probably have Ryan help me, but a lot of streets here. What we can do is follow up with some more reference maps, but what you see here is that, it's mainly pink and brown. Pink is 4 stories and brown is 5 stories. And pink is R4 today, and brown is R5 today. In most R4 zones, you can already do 2, 3 story, sometimes small apartment buildings. But now you can do a 4-story multifamily building. In the brown areas, you could do today 3 or 4 stories, depending again how big the lot size is. Now you could do a 5-story apartment building. So it is a difference, but really the big difference is in R3 in the orange, or in the orange, basically you're going from like a 1 or 2 family home, or in some cases a 3-family home, to now you can build a 3-story larger apartment building. It's more of a major change there. In the pink and brown, you're just talking about some additional height. It's not as big of a change. Next slide. And this just shows the other parts of the neighborhood. So again, we can share more details of the applicable areas because there's a lot of streets here. But next slide. What we did for both town center and transit development proposals is that initially they did not include any affordability provisions. So this is a major concern because you're just allowing more development without affordability. Their rationale was that these are small developments, and if you put on an affordable requirement on a small development, it just won't get built. We took some issue with that, so what the modification is if it's 50 units or larger, there is an affordability requirement where 20% of the units have to be at or below 80% AMI. And 80% AMI is roughly 87,000 for an individual in terms of annual income to about 95,000 or 97,000 for a family of 3.
I'm sorry, we definitely want questions, but typically we have the board members ask questions first and we want to get through the presentation. Thank you so much.
Next slide. Next slide. So this provision is mainly, so you have, and this applies to this neighborhood, you have homes that were built before 1961. The way that the zoning has been, or that they did the zoning in 1961, it actually rendered a lot of homes across the city non-compliant with the zoning, which is a little strange, right? So what this provision does is it actually makes a lot more homes across the city compliant with like R1, R2, R3, low multifamily zoning. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that you have homes that might want to expand, like someone might want to push out, might want to add some extra bedrooms to their house, or maybe they want a family room in the back. Under most of existing zoning, unless you have a large lot, you can't do it. So what this does is it grants some additional flexibility so someone could expand their home in certain cases. Next slide. Now, that said, there was some concerns from community members. Well, if you have a large lot, people don't need that extra flexibility. You're going to get these huge McMansions. And this is already happening in certain parts of the neighborhood. I don't know if it happens here, but in certain parts of the city, people were tearing down those older homes and putting up these large McMansions. So we edited the provision or modified the provision so that if you do have a large lot, you don't get that extra FAR. And you don't get as much extra flexibility. So you're not incentivizing this to happen. Next slide. So some other changes that we made. We made sure that you have to retain 2/3 of your rear yard. So basically this idea that if you're building into your rear yard, either through an expansion of your house or through an ADU, you still have to have 2/3 of the yard open and not built over. Also, in certain cases, we changed some of the side yards. This is kind of how we wanted to cater to certain neighborhoods. So depending on where you are, your side yard might be a little bit bigger than it was before City of Yes, or it might be about the same. I think there was one other thing on, so. Yeah, no, I guess that's it. Next slide. This applies less in this area, but the City of Yes reduces minimum lot width and minimum lot sizes across the city. What that means is you might have on a block with large lots, 2 or 3 homes. What someone could do is they could buy up those homes and then make 5 or 6 homes. We didn't want that to happen. That's what you do want to have happen, that's illustrated here on the bottom left, is if you have a vacant lot, so this is a vacant lot in Queens, that is not developable or wasn't developable pre-City of Yes, and just kind of sits there, because you can't put anything, you can't even put a single family house there. Now, you can put a single family house there, but what you can't do is take a row of existing homes, tear them down, and where 3 homes were, put up 6 or 7 homes. Next slide. You have this, so this is a condition you see a lot in this neighborhood, where you have low rise, maybe 1, 2 family homes next to a larger apartment building. In the zoning, there's what's called transition rules, where that taller building has to step down in the way you see in the picture to those smaller homes. Originally in the City of Yes, they had taken that out. So we put it back in because it just makes sense, right? Next slide. Okay, parking. I know very important to this community. Next slide. So the original proposal had eliminated parking requirements across the city. That was actually, a lot of people were okay with it. A lot of people had a lot of problems with it. So we came up with this 3-zone approach. Zone 1, there's no more parking requirements, but that's not here, so no worries there. It's Manhattan, downtown Brooklyn, parts of central Brooklyn, some parts of western Queens. Zone 2, which does include some of this, a piece of this neighborhood, but a small piece, which is reduced parking requirements considerably. And then Zone 3, where we basically left parking requirements alone. And that's the grand majority of this neighborhood is in Zone 3. Next slide. So yeah, this map is hard to read, so next slide. Okay, so this map is a little hard to read as well. And actually, I thought there was some Zone 2, but I guess it's all Zone 3. So, and the council member really advocated for this because obviously you guys do have transit access, but and I see it. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get here from downtown Manhattan, so I get it. So this map is a little confusing to read because the green is what is considered Zone 3 everywhere else in the city, and then the blue is a special map designation that they created where you already have where technically you are in what they call the greater transit zone, but the parking provisions are that of what is called beyond the transit zone, which is the green. But the point is, the entire neighborhood is in Zone 3. So next slide. So basically all the parking requirements that existed before are still in place. But there are some exemptions. So if you're converting a building, you don't have a parking requirement, which kind of makes sense anyway, right? ADUs, you can't have parking requirements. Houses of worship don't have parking requirements. And then town center and TOD sites below 75 units do not have parking requirements. You don't have any Zone 2, so you don't have to worry about that. Next slide. Next slide. So the other thing that we heard from communities is that this text amendment took away power from community boards and from council members by making things that were a ULURP process either basically a city planning commission process. So we reversed all of that. Anything that was, so a lot of special permits, they wanted to make what are called authorizations or certifications. We basically took those away, and all of these categories, which I'm not going to go through just for time's sake, are still special permit processes where the community board will have a vote and the city council still has a vote. Next slide. Next slide. So part of the reason that we allowed this to go forward was not just because more housing is needed across the city, but because we saw this as an opportunity to get investments that weren't happening and that the mayor wasn't making. So affordable housing investments, including $2 billion for NYCHA and for affordable housing development and for affordable housing preservation, $1 billion from the state, and actually the state's negotiating right now exactly what that money will be used for, but there's definitely going to be homeowner support and tenant protections included there. And then infrastructure. We heard across the city, and it came up today with the flooding conversation, the DP's presentation, we need to repair our streets, we need to repair our sewers, particularly if we're increasing density and bringing more residents. These things need to be taken care of. So this is an additional $2 billion, mainly for DEP, but also for DOT, to invest in neighborhoods across the city to address existing issues. And then finally, from a standpoint of staffing capacity, a concern with the lack of inspectors at DOB, Department of Buildings, and at HPD and DCP, well, not DCP, I'm sorry. So they agreed to fund an additional 200 staff at those agencies to really address what are really ongoing issues, but certainly, as part of the idea of if you're increasing the amount of people, you need to staff your agencies appropriately. And I think that's it.
I have a question. Any of that funding that you just spoke about, does it come from the federal government?
No, this is all city and state. Yeah.
I have a question. I understand about the ADUs, the creativity. There are dwellings that are being built that don't have the as of right. Is there any type of implementation plan that any unit that's being created that does not have as of right needs to come to community board in any way, sense, or form for them to make a presentation as their mere existence? Or do we have to wait for these items to be built? I say items, but that is how the creativity of shelters have faltered into this particular community. So I don't know what you want to call it, but in any event, the power for any type of building to be created that does not have an as of right status, could or should that be able to come to the community board for any recertification or understanding within the confines of the community?
Yeah, no, great question. So almost by definition, if it's as of right, then it doesn't need any kind of what we call discretionary approval, which is a city council approval or a city planning commission approval. If it's a city council approval, usually it's ULURP, so that it comes to the community board in a formal way. That doesn't always happen, but regardless, there's a city council process where the community board is involved. Some things don't come to city council, they just go to city planning commission. Typically,
That's what I'm talking about.
The authorization. So an authorization is required to be referred out to community board. So is there a required community board review and vote? No, but City Planning Commission does send 45 days ahead of when they vote, or from the hearing, actually, 45 days ahead of the hearing on that item, they do let the community board know about that authorization application. And the community board has an opportunity to send in a recommendation. It just doesn't work like ULURP where the community board has a defined period, but technically the community board does have a say and can express the opposition to the City Planning Commission.
Well, that becomes questionable, and that's what this conversation needs to be about. But I'm just saying, I understand the ULURP, but for any and every other circumstance, there needs to be some type of definition in the best interest of the neighborhood, and that's where the community board comes in. And this is something that needs further discussion.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the timing is right. So, not related to City of Yes, but right now, there's two simultaneous charter revision commissions. There's the mayor has a charter revision commission that he started, and the city council actually also has a charter revision commission. They're taking public input right now, and at least the city council, they haven't defined what their goals are yet. It's very broad, but the mayor's charter commission, one of the focuses land use, and they're asking community members, stakeholders to talk about the land use process. So it's an opportunity for community boards to submit comment to that commission to say, hey, we need more input in the process. Because actually some of the folks that have been testifying at those public meetings have said the opposite. Not to say that they don't need community input, but they're talking about how do we make the process faster, which, that could be one goal to get more housing done, but the other goal is community members need to have an input in what happens in their neighborhoods. So that's something that's going on now where they could change the city charter if they wanted to. It's the Charter Revision Commission. It's important that community boards across the city send in testimony to that commission.
Thank you.
Hello, Denise Echeverria. How are we reaching the community of homeowners? There's a lot of homeowners that don't know that there's even a City of Yes zoning. And also, is there a hotline? Can you answer that, please?
I like that. I like the City of Yes hotline. I like that idea. We've been working with Department of City Planning. They put out a lot of materials on their website, but they're still working on post-approval materials. And we've been working with them to really put out materials that explain the proposals so that you don't have to be like an attorney or a planner or an architect to understand what this is. Not everyone's going to come to presentations like this. These resources and information should be online. In terms of actually getting out the word beyond that, I think we should ask them to do that, but I doubt that there'll be any kind of mailing or, but we are working with them to do, to have reference materials online, which are more accessible to the public.
Also, I want to know, is there a projection of what our taxes are going to look like? Because I have a feeling that the homeowners are going to end up paying for this.
Well, your taxes would be affected if you built an ADU on your property. Your assessment should go up because that's, your property is more valuable, right? If you're not doing an ADU or if you're not doing increased development as a result of City of Yes, then your property values shouldn't be affected unless there's a lot of other development happening in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to know, when you said earlier, and I saw some AMI, everybody keeps saying affordability. Who determines how much rent the person is going to pay? Is it the homeowner, the city, or who? And then I would like to know, what is affordability? All right, because people want to know what's affordability.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Affordable for who, right? Yeah, no, it's a big issue because, you've got different communities across the city and some are very low income and some are more middle income, but the affordability crisis is really felt very broadly. Where there's middle class families where both parents are working and they're having trouble paying, paying rent. And then you've got, people that are very poor where there's not enough income restricted housing for them, right? So the way that AMI is defined as a federal term, area median income is based on something that the HUD, that the Department of Housing and Urban Development calculates. And it's based both on median income, not just of New York City, but of the suburbs. And it's based on increasing rent, which is a little bit of a weird concept, but one of the reasons the AMI is so high is because rents have been going up so high. That said, what we can do on the city level through public policy is define what we call affordable. So in this case, there's provisions in City VS that we didn't go into much detail over because there wasn't as much comments from the community board about them. But one of the provisions in City VS is the universal affordability preference. So basically, in higher density areas, you get extra what's called floor area if you provide units at 60% AMI, which is roughly 65,000 to 85,000 in terms of annual income a year, depending on household size. And that's lower than what it used to be. Before that, the bonuses that were available in the zoning resolution were at 80% AMI. So that's something, and that was, that's actually something that the Department of City Planning led with. So where you set public policy in terms of zoning or in terms of subsidy can be determined by the city. So even though the feds have this really high area median income, we can set policy at levels lower than that. And one thing that we didn't go over, the city council made a amendment to that provision I was just talking about, where even though the average is still at 60% AMI, there's a required tier at 40% AMI, which is, again, more accessible because it's more low income. 40% AMI is roughly 45,000 to 60,000.
Paris, can I just say something for reference? If everybody recalls that new building on Tilden and Gun Hill, not Tilden, Holland, the AMI is 130% for that one. So this would be a marked difference, just so everybody keeps that in mind. The studios were at 2,900 starting. 40% is way more affordable than 130%.
Yeah. But, and my last question,
I'm sorry, one sec. Let them just finish and then we'll all go to questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because one thing that the state did, so, there's laws that we make and then there's laws that the state makes. The state controls the tax abatement, and the reason that you had these 130 AMI units was because the state law was that they considered that affordable. They changed the state law, and now you're not going to see any more 130 AMI units getting a tax abatement. They have to be at 80% AMI. So that's a big change that happened under this governor. But again, so regardless of what the feds do, we can set our laws to define what affordability is based on more local considerations.
Yeah. Was that it with the presentation though?
Yeah, we're done with the presentation.
Okay, great. Okay.
My last question was this: if say a homeowner keeps his home the same way, but then a couple of or on the block a couple of feet, they do that and they expand. Will my water bill or electricity be affected?
Shouldn't.
It shouldn't?
All
right, because I don't, I think it would.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, how, but
it would.
Are you saying they're gonna steal your circuits? They're gonna steal your circuits? At their meters? Yours? No, that's illegal. I mean, but you should observe, and if you see any marked differences, then we should investigate. Okay, we're gonna go to Denise. Did you have a question? No, Karen. Karen, you had a question? Jasmine, then Karen, and then Ariel.
So my question is regarding the ADUs. Does it have to go through DOB?
Yes, they have
Okay.
to pull permits.
Are there any waivers for the filing fee?
Waivers. Well, you know, all that rulemaking is still taking place. So we can get back to you on all the details.
Okay.
But I will mention that it wasn't just zoning that regulates these ADUs. You actually have to have, there was local legislation that we also passed concurrently with City of Yes, that, you know, to amend the building code. And these units are going to be pretty safe if there's any concerns around that. They have to be sprinklered in certain cases. You know, there's design requirements around how many points of egress, you know, if there's a fire, et cetera. So there's other provisions outside the zoning that regulate ADUs. So we can have a follow-up specifically on ADUs if that's of interest.
Excuse me. My concern is that when they decide to build these buildings, we're always the one to learn about them after the fact. And this presentation says that you want to keep the character of the neighborhood and keep, you know, the income, you know, where people can be affordable. Again, he was like, who is this affordable for? Because all of these houses that are coming up now at present, they're all turning into shelters. You know, they all start out with saying 20% of the families that are coming in for what whoever is calling affordable, because $2,300 a month for a studio is not affordable. For the average person that's getting out of college, starting a new job, what they're calling affordable is not affordable for the community in which they're trying to build the housing for. So an income in this neighborhood that used to be approximately, and I saw this written someplace, like $77,000. That's not even in your middle income that you just stated. Okay, no, it was like, it came down to 30 something thousand dollars, $33,000 because of the fact it's all shelters. You know, so I understand we want affordable housing, but if everything is becoming a shelter, where's the
So,
income of affordability?
so if I may, a lot of those shelters going up are as of right. This actually gives them an option. So I believe a lot of those developers,
Sorry, can you explain that
as of right, that means this is zoned how it's zoned. It could be a R4 or whatever, right? Now, I'm going to take this down, whatever structure it is, and I'm going to build within the same zoning regulations. I'm not going to the community board doing the URLA. I'm just going to the DOB. I'm getting my permit. The DOB and DCP is going to send a letter down to the community board 45 days before that they hear that. So the community board actually does hear about these because George, Ursula, and Beatrice actually contact me anytime they hear about these buildings going up to check if they do become shelters. And then we're able to actually intervene. Now, this actually gives those building owners more options now with the development that they have to do more affordability. They're building it now thinking that people can afford a studio for $3,300 and no one could afford that over here. This will actually give them more options to do more versatility with the building that they're building over here.
I was gonna ask about sorry, my body is kind of weird because of the mic. I know that we were talking about the AMI and is at 80 and the provision for city and state could basically determine what the AMI is for the neighborhood. Would that be the AMI for, like, can we do that locally? Because I think roughly, please don't quote me, that the median average in this neighborhood is perhaps about 66,000. So that would kind of put us towards that 60 lower than the 80, it'll put us towards the 60. So like, do developers really have to amend their AMI? Like, what makes them not want to keep it, at the 80 and go down to 60 if the local community makes a certain median? That's like my first question.
Yeah, great question. So what's good about the City of Yes provision I was talking about is that extra FAR, otherwise that density increase, is only available if you do at 60% AMI. So that would touch people right around the median of the neighborhood, because it's around 65,000, at least for an individual. And then if you have a big enough development, it has that required tier at 40% AMI, which is even lower income. So it's a big policy change, because before you had some density bonuses available at the higher AMIs. And again, the tax abatement from the state was also going for the higher AMIs. Now there's an incentive to do lower affordability.
Okay, and then my other question for Mr. Riley, how are you doing? Yeah, the mic is hard, I know. So I know that we were talking about more, you said that a lot of people has been telling you about home ownership. A lot of people want that. I feel that like when I was looking at the City of Yes, I saw a lot of buildings and more, not multifamily, but a little bit higher, maybe like 4 or 5 stories, depending on where the zoning would be. How are we incorporating the housing per se? Because I know that kind of depends on the developer of where people develop at. And usually in this neighborhood, people kind of enjoy the 2-family or the multifamily, people trying to get home ownership, but it looks like it's more, I would say, like people trying to at least get rental, at least get, some type of housing. So for the people who live here, like people like me and everything like else, and you're trying to look for housing, and Uptown Bronx is the place when you look for housing. And now we're more developing into, trying to have multi apartments and housing. How does that work for people who's looking for that?
So there was funding going into some home ownership that I believe that we didn't go over today, that we could provide that documentation to you after the presentation. But there was focus on adding more home ownership opportunities, cooperatives to areas as well. But I don't have the numbers on me right now. I can get those numbers to you after.
Yeah, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me either, but the program and the programs specifically that I remember is that there was a roughly a doubling of the money available for down payment assistance. So that program is bigger. And then also there was an increase in the program that builds affordable home ownership across the city. So
sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to
Go ahead.
interrupt you. I think that what I mean, not technically the programming of it, like people getting programs, but the inventory. I'm saying that the inventory is gonna be super low because we're focusing on, it seems like we're focusing on the buildings and the things that are higher. So there can be programs, but if there's no inventory and it's very, like, that's what I mean, like, because I don't think we're going to be building, it seems like the multifamilies, and because we're talking about family building, and we also know that a lot of people come from more than a nuclear family. People come from bigger families. Like a lot of these houses have in-law places, or people taking care of their parents, generational places, but that seems to be dwindling. So if we're supposed to be doing community-based things, what happens to those spaces where people were building their families?
And I just want to share, we do have to keep, we got to wrap up soon because we do have a full agenda that we need to vote, that we need quorum. So please, I'm asking my board members not to leave. So Luke, last question, and then we go back to Councilmember Riley, and then we continue.
Just wanted to mention Denise asked if there's any resource available to ask the City of Yes zoning questions. There's a zoning help desk. It's always been in existence. It's on the Department of City Planning's website. I used to use it when I was a Department of Buildings employee. You just call them up and leave a message. It's called the Zoning Help Desk.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you. I just have to state this real quick. So I'm going to be at the legislative breakfast, so we could talk more about this there. There's going to be a Medicare rights luncheon tomorrow at March 28th at 11 a.m. at 135 Einstein Loop. On Saturday, we're doing the cleanup on Edson and AD. And there's going to be a tax lien info at Butler on April 2nd. Now, that's important. I'll tell you why. There are hundreds of properties in our district at risk of being sold because of liens. To avoid a sale, residents can pay their minimum amount owed, apply for extension, or enter into a payment agreement. The last day to take action is May 19th. At the 90-day mark, 1,017 properties in District 12 are at risk. At the 60-day mark, 917 properties remain at risk. We only got one person that RSVP for this event. So I need you guys to share this information to everyone that owns a home because it's really, really important and they may have a lien on their home. With that being said, if you have any other questions, I guess Paris and Ryan will be right here real quick if you want to go ask them. But I know you guys have a full agenda. Thank you for allowing us to present today.
Yeah, wait a minute, 1 second though, Councilman Riley. In as much as I'd like to let you go, I have to ask this question. I mean, clearly you understood that.
Wayne, you got to speak louder and you're the last question.
Yeah. Clearly you understood that we weren't in support of the city of Yes, and you voted to support it. But in as much as I understand the need for housing, I have no one ever talks about the infrastructure issues that we're going to have. What about schools for our kids and how do we accommodate them? Nobody discusses those things. Nobody talks about the density and the not much traffic and the garbage that's going to be created and how that's going to be addressed. No one talk about green spaces for the kids that are going to be living here now and families who are going to be raising their kids here. We just talk about housing. So we are willing to live on top of each other like cockroaches, but we're not going to provide any recreational or any space or any school spaces for our children. I'm trying to understand how that works.
So Wayne, I think that's an amazing question, and I wouldn't say nobody advocated for that. I wasn't going to support this project if we didn't get the infrastructure upgrades, which we got $2 billion that we are going to get and see in this district. So we are focused on green spaces. We are focused on upgrading schools. I was doing that before the City of Yes project, upgrading schools, district. I just stated I brought in $122 million to the district, and that's going to schools, parks, and libraries. We just did $14 million for the Edenwald Library. We did Rienzi Playground, which is down the block, $18 million for that. That playground wasn't going to be taken care of no time soon. So I wouldn't say we wasn't taking care of the open spaces, schools, and libraries and public spaces in the district. So that was a part of the plan, and we could discuss a little bit more if you want to after. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to thank you so much, Council Member, for all the valuable information, and Paris and Ryan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Victor, if you can quick, and then we're going to rearrange our agenda because we do have to take some votes.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So sorry, I know it's super late. My name is Victor Martinez. I'm here on behalf of Congressmember Richie Torres to provide some updates. Quickly, one of the updates is that the Congressmember, he introduced a bill that basically looks to provide tax credits to homeowners, especially for the installation of certain water filtration system in their home. Especially it's like a 20% tax credit for water filtration. That's something that we're working on in Congress. Another thing is that I believe you guys have seen like all the news about this signal chat situation happening with the Trump administration, especially related to the attacks that they did in Yemen. So the Congressmember, he introduced a bill that looks to make a crime to disclose classified information through like a channel like a signal chat, like as well. So that's it. That's part of the things that he has been working on. There's a lot happening at the federal level. Please follow our social media. We're putting a lot of video content. We're interviewing like the people that have been like laid off by the Trump administration. We're putting like different kind of stories of people that have been affected by this administration's what they're doing. So please follow us on Facebook, on X, on Instagram. You're going to see a lot of other content there, everything that the Congress member is doing, like to defend Medicaid and all these cuts that they're planning to do, where they're at the front, where they're like fighting for that. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Board members, please don't leave. Sorry. Thank you, Victor.
Okay.
Truly appreciate it. And thank you for the breakfast coming up.
Yeah.
Sabrina, board members, please, we need you. Okay, apologies for those that are online. We are actually going to have to shift to some voting matters because we cannot lose quorum and we're close to that. So apologies, Alexandra. I know you're waiting to give us the COI training. We're going to move that to after the voting matters. Elected official representatives, apologies. We're going to move that to voting matters. Okay, so I'm going to read my report, then district managers. Yes. So we have our legislative breakfast coming up. And so we do need to identify what our priorities are going to be. So we're going to name a few, we're going to take an input, and then we do need to take a vote on what our agenda is going to be for that breakfast. A few things that we've been all speaking about is infrastructure, such as flooding, stormwater damage, underground drainage system, affordable housing. The AMI percentage is something we want to continue the conversation on, but we did get some information. Development, which is as of right, we have a concern. We want to bring that up. Public safety, shelters. Anyone else agrees, have something to add? We'll go to Carl and then John.
Now? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Basically, this has to do with the City of Yes issues that is coming to the community. Infrastructure, affordable housing, which we really, really need, affordable housing in the community. But we need, and Effie said something about this, was very interesting because she read my mind, that we need bigger sewers, more water, mains. But one thing they forgot, what about the schools? We have to get the school construction authority here for schools. And also, we would need increased transit services and especially overnight services where we don't have bus service. Some areas are abandoned and if you come home after 12 o'clock, you can't get home. So we should get the MTA to add more but overnight bus service. It can run once an hour, once every half hour, depending on the route, but we need overnight services. And there's other issues, we would need more sanitation. You got additional refuge, which needs to be picked up, and recyclables. And getting down to the other part, which could be part of city, yes. We need more enforcement for vehicles driving down the bike lanes. And you say, yeah, okay. And parking in the bike lanes. Right. We need more police enforcement by adding condition cars for moving violations such as running red lights. And I'll give you an example. In the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, when I take my wife to the Metro North Station, the cars are running through the red light to get on the Bronx River Parkway. We need a condition car there to write a few summonses. Enforcement, and that's basically it.
Thank you.
I'll give it to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not going to be repetitive.
a lot of the things that I have called already covered. One of the things that I actually want us to focus on is resiliency and investing in the infrastructure, because as you know, the global warming has been happening, and the same presentation that Effie did this evening, I actually been doing it for DEP when I was there. And with this flash flood, we've been having storms that have 3 inches of water within an hour coming down, and it's really, really bad. So one of the things we got to focus on is the stormwater management, which falls under infrastructure, and public transportation. We need to upgrade our gateway train stations, Dyer Avenue, 241st. That's our entryway for the people coming from the north and Westchester. So we actually need to add lighting and fix up those stations. And the buses and stuff are overcrowded now because they brought a whole bunch of new people in this neighborhood. We have new community members in this neighborhood, and we actually need more resources. They brought all the people here, and I asked the homeless services before, if you are bringing all these people here, we need more medical resources, more police officers, right? You know why you need more police officers? Because I'm asking you, Ariel, they actually take the cops from off the beat and station them at the shelters. So you're losing like 2 cops just being at the shelters. Yeah, so just overall traffic, we need to work on the circulation. Even though we did improvements, things are still bad. Like I could actually stay from where I live and hear Baychester Avenue, the guys are honking the horns, so that's just transportation. DOT. All right.
Anyone else that wants to offer suggestion? Okay, we're gonna go to Sherry and then Luke.
Okay, I think also we need to add on to the list more for community health. So more like health fairs, more mental health awareness, like more availability of fresh food markets with nutrition classes.
Okay, everybody heard under health? So we're categorizing it as health. Luke?
Our parks need.
Wayne, don't leave, please. Okay, go ahead.
Our parks need capital improvements. Gun Hill Playground has lead in the water, and the Parks Department is AWOL in terms of letting us know, how often it's tested, what other facilities in the district are being tested. Renzi Playground needs capital improvements. We have a Shoelace Park master plan that is aimed at moving some of the bathrooms and park facilities out of the floodplain. The Shoelace Park master plan needs to be funded. As Karen mentioned, we should have blue lights in parks. These are public safety kind of tools that you can rely on to communicate in emergencies. And just to double down on what Carl was saying, we should have our 2 train and our 5 trains be upgraded to have modern signals. This is what the L train has. This is what the 7 train has. It's called communications-based train control. This is where they can run a lot of trains really close together. And, you can get to, instead of having the city of council guys get here an hour, 20 minutes, how about 30 minutes? Wouldn't that be nice?
Thank you. Okay, and so everybody understood what would be under parks? That's a category, parks. No questions? Go ahead. Javed, under health. And pharmacies under health too, the lack of pharmacies.
One more thing I think we should, I know that we need to add under health as well is it's been a number of years, I believe it's 4 years since we've had a full-scale community health profile evaluation set for our community.
Yes.
And in order for us to be able to build proper and efficient health interventions, we need to know what the state of health is in our community. So I've been having conversations with a bunch of people, but it's been very slow. I think that is something that we need to put under health for funding for a full-scale evaluation of our health within our community board.
Everybody's aware of what he said? Everybody heard? Okay, anyone else? All right, so I'm gonna repeat the categories.
Madam
and then we're
Chair.
gonna take a vote. That we're all in agreement that this is our agenda.
Beatrice,
Anyone online?
Beatrice, can you hear us? Can you hear
Yes,
us?
go ahead, Alfredo.
No, you can hear us?
Yes,
Yeah, Talene's been trying, she's had her hand up for a minute. She's been trying to.
I don't have a computer, so I can't see who's online. Go ahead.
Talene, you want to speak up?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
This is just from the education standpoint. I spoke with District 11, and as you know, we spoke about a training hub, which would be a community space to train staff and district community members to use technology and design community engagement resources, STEAM instruction, and 21st century capabilities. The other thing they mentioned was, where are we? Okay, incentives, district-wide attendance incentives. That was the other thing.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anyone else
I mean,
online?
So me and you spoke earlier, Beatrice, so I mean.
Yes, we have that. We added that, more police officers
Yeah,
and
the
enforcement.
meeting is gonna be for like 2 hours, right? On the 12th?
Yes,
Yeah, so we gotta try to keep it to a point and like get to the point, otherwise.
Alfredo, we just want to take a vote now. If you
No,
have
no.
anything else to add. Okay.
No, that's it.
Just review the categories. We have infrastructure, affordable housing, public safety, land use, transportation, health, parks, and environmental concerns. And education, yes.
That we order all the committees to pass, and this is what we're gonna present.
Great. That's under housing.
It's under
Yes.
housing, yeah.
Yes.
We're coming.
Okay. Great, I'm sorry. So Carl made a motion. Go ahead, and can you write that down for us? Because Michelle's not here for the minutes. Okay, I will summarize everything. So all the other subcategories, if you could just email those to me, because I'll write it up as a report and send it out to everybody. This is what we voted on. Yeah, so now you made the motion. Yes. John seconded it.
Take the roll.
Judith?
Berkeley. Carlton Berkeley. Just as a reminder for the people on the virtual, would you make sure that you're visible?
Yes, ma'am.
There's a few of you that are not visible, but you were here all the time. Carla Masadi.
Where is she gone now? She was there earlier.
Patricia Boswell. I know I saw you earlier. Are you still here with us? Not present. Michelle Bromfield's excused. Desiree Campbell. Not present. Sadie Campbell.
I didn't say that.
I can't hear you, Sadie. What'd you say? You said aye?
And you still muted?
Joan. Joan.
Aye.
Thank you, Joan.
Welcome.
Utonia Davis. Not present. Tolene Dickerson. Tolene Dickerson,
Aye.
Tierra
you hear me?
Donaldson. Tierra Donaldson is excused. Denise Echeverria. Jaslyn Farmer. Alfredo Figueroa.
Aye.
Karen, we need you in here.
Sabrina Fisher. Sabrina Fisher. This is why we don't try to go this late. Katrina Fuentes. Not present. Johnny Goff, not present. Darren Grant. Not present. Sheila Grierson, not present. Robert Hall.
Aye.
John Isaac. Theodore James, not present. Alpha Kamara. Robert Link. Javed Lee. Thank you. Mark. Lucille Martin, not present. Ma'am Mansad. Hi. Antoinette Mitchell. Andrea Murray. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You see how they put it in? Yeah. Clinton Mike. Carmen Ortiz, not present. Wayne Palmer.
Aye.
Reginald Paris, not present. Ariel Peters. Dominique Finn. Anthony Reed, not present. Nicholas Rojas Bosa. Sherry Samuels. Karen Skinner. Carl Stricker. Benga Saber. Luke Sabados. Deborah Torado.
Here.
Aye or nay?
Sorry.
David Totine. Deborah Walker. Not present. Beatrice Coronel. So far, the ayes have it.
Okay,
Did
we
you
have a
call
quorum.
Patricia
So,
Boswell?
excuse me?
I didn't hear my name.
You didn't answer before because we called you. What
Oh, I
is
didn't hear
what
it.
is your answer?
Aye.
Okay, so the ayes have it. Okay, we still have a bunch of items on the agenda. Alexander, are you still here? Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm fine if you want to. I mean, it sounds like you guys have been here forever.
have.
So
Alex,
I don't know if
would
this
you
is a
have
great
time to
keep
come in
changing
April? Do you have time to come in April?
What's the date?
April the 4th, Thursday, and apologies. Thank you for being patient.
That's
You've been
okay.
here with us the whole time.
Hey, I'm getting paid. It's okay.
It would be April 27th. Oh, wait, no,
Hold
April
on one
24th.
All right, let me just check the schedule. I'll tell you right now. April 24th.
Yes, you'll get paid again.
Hey, music to my ears. Hey, that's open. So yeah, I can do that.
Please lock us in for that day and apologies.
Okay, that no problem. All right, everybody have a great night. Thank you. Take care.
So what do you guys think about tabling the rest for the next? Yes, can you?
Excuse me, Madam Chair,
Table most of the rest of the agenda until
Madam
next.
Chair.
Wait, we do have one person we're gonna let speak, the principal for what, I forgot your name, sir. And then we're gonna close, yes. We have committee reports, but we can table that to next. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, Principal, are you on the line? And then we're gonna close.
Yes,
And then
good
we're gonna make a
evening.
motion to close.
Let me just say, after that, we have a vote for a letter of support, if you remember, Madam Chair. Go ahead.
We're losing folks, unfortunately. Wait, just Denise, sorry, Denise, quickly.
Throw mine
Go
in
ahead,
there.
Robert.
Okay, listen, I just
Sorry.
want to go back to the month of February. The wellness organization located on White Plains Road, we already had the ribbon cutting ceremony. We had a discussion with regards to them asking the board for a letter so that they can start their work on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. But we decided 9 o'clock was sufficient, but we did not vote on that. So we need a vote on that. This is with regards to the wellness, which is next to Western Beef on White Plains Road, and they're doing work as we speak.
Make a motion that we go at 9 a.m. on your recommendation.
Second.
So moved.
Aye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Talene, last one. Oh, wait, are you done, Ms. Benitez?
One more vote.
Hold on, let's give Ms. Benitez a second.
Principal Bionat.
We're gonna have to, Principal, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to table you to next month.
So then how can we vote on the letter of support for him?
Oh, he's here, apologies, okay. We're gonna give Ms. Benitez a moment.
You already voted, so I'm gonna go, just let me know one thing. Are there any nays in that last vote? Are there any reclusions in that last vote?
No.
So we'll be saying aye again.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Talene, you heard?
It's Principal Bionat, he's there.
Good evening, everyone.
Aye, so yes, you got the vote for yes for the letter of support.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'd be happy
Thank
to.
you so much and apologies.
Not a problem. I appreciate you all and look forward to working with you in the future.
God.
You gotta take a vote.
Oh my God, what? Yes. All right, Talene,
Yes.
can you wrap it up in a second?
It's not for me to wrap up, it's for the principal.
We're just taking the vote, apologies, but can you just put what it is that you're asking for? If you can just share. What is your recommendation?
Oh man. X370. Well, can he just say it real quick?
Yep.
We're losing quorum, Talene, unless
It would
you
be
wanna
a
wait till next
motion
month.
to support a letter in favor of, or in support of the merger of 11X370, which is Leaders of Tomorrow, and 11X287, which is the North Bronx School of Empowerment on the 11X113 campus.
Thank you so much, Joe.
My pleasure.
Did you get that, Madam Chair?
Yes, what is your recommendation?
The committee voted unanimously for a letter of support for the merger, and we're bringing it to the full board.
Great. Judith?
I'll make that motion. All in favor?
Letter of support. Letter of support.
I make a motion that we write the letter in support for the
Merger, the school merger.
school merger.
Carl made the motion to, is there a second? John Isaac seconds.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
No nays. No, no, okay, thank you.
Okay, wait, yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Now can I get a motion to close? This wraps up our meeting. Yes.
Dominique made the motion to close. Karen seconded the motion to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
recusals? Any nays?
No.
Any
No.
abstentions?
No.
George, can you end the recording? George, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All in favor?
Would you be able to end the recording?
No,
Sure.
no nays. No, no.